Hello, brothers and sisters. Thanks for joining me today. Let's talk about black privilege today. I think it's important to do that because, folks on the left are always talking about white privilege. And so I think let's talk about black privilege today. So I found this story in the Daily Mail, and it's really about the Oxford Union and their incoming president-elect, George Abaraonye. Oxford Union suffers growing backlash after President-elect accused of celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination after the pair came head-to-head in debate weeks ago. A civil debating society in Oxford Union, oh my goodness, that's one of the oldest debating societies in the world, one of the most prestigious ones, isn't it? Oh, and here's a picture, I guess, of their president-elect in his jammies and t-shirt debating Charlie Kirk of all people. Imagine that. And Charlie Kirk, he went to Oxford to do a debate. It's very prestigious. He wore a suit. George, not so much. So let's go ahead and read this story and see what we think about this. So this appears to be a debate that Charlie Kirk had with George a few months ago. And let's just watch it and see how it goes.
In what way has the education system infantilized men?
I mean, every possible way, from the hypermedication of young men, from in the core curriculum in America, we learn about toxic masculinity from ages 8 in public schools in California and in New York. We never talk about toxic femininity. Do you agree that there's toxic femininity as well?
I mean, I think it's an unfair double standard.
Why?
Well,
how can femininity not be toxic if masculinity can?
I'm not saying they can't be.
Do we teach kids about toxic femininity in our schools? No, tell me yes or no.
I mean, I think that they come from two very different places. I think toxic masculinity comes from a level of misogyny, where I think toxic femininity often comes from a reaction to a misogynistic system which fundamentally oppresses and systematically oppresses women. And I'm not saying that toxic femininity is a good thing, but I'm saying it's a much more understood and valid reaction to a system of oppression versus toxic masculinity, which oppresses.
Okay. So even if I grant you that, are they teaching toxic? Is that term ever been used in a school that you know of?
What term?
Toxic femininity?
No, it's not.
Oh, that's weird. So only one sex gets criticized and called toxic. Maybe that creates a backlash.
Well, because one is creating a system of oppression.
Oh, no, that's your interpretation.
All right, so there, we watched it. We've seen George in action debating Mr. Kirk. I know they all cheered on George's answer, but I think that's probably because it was Oxford. It was a home side advantage. I thought Mr. Kirk's argument and confidence came through a lot stronger. It looked to me like George just kind of showed up. So there we go, but you make up your own mind. And there we have arguably one of the top debaters at the Oxford Union, since he is their president-elect. So George has actually met Charlie Kirk. This story is out of the Daily Mail. Sam Greenhill published on the 12th. Today is the 13th, so I'm trying to stay current. I was busy yesterday, so I didn't do a lot of stories. I'll tell you probably in another story what I was working on. The Oxford Union is facing a growing backlash after its incoming president made gloating remarks about Charlie Kirk's assassination. Prestigious speakers have canceled forthcoming appearances at the Historic Debating Society in protest at George Abaraonye. Mr. Abaraonye, who debated Kirk at Oxford Union in May and is poised to take up the post as president, apparently wrote, "Charlie Kirk got shot, let's fucking go." And in another message said to have been posted on Instagram, "Charlie Kirk got shot, lol." Okay? Yeah, that seems civil. Yeah. Yesterday's millionaire entrepreneur Josh Wolf, co-founder of the New York venture capitalist Lex Capital, pulled out of an invitation to speak at Oxford Union. He wrote on X, formerly Twitter, "I was invited to speak on tech and venture capitalism at the Oxford Union, a historical prestigious venue dating back to 1823. I have withdrawn and declined." Mr. Wolf said he would stay away until cultural leadership from the top celebrates peace and coexistence and civil discourse and denounces violence. So here they are. Here's Mr. Kirk shortly before his death from the Antifa assassin. George Abaraonye, here he is. "Charlie Kirk got shot. Let's fucking go." Praying. What does that even mean? Are we going to shoot more people now? Is that what that means? Let's fucking go and shoot more people? I'm not going to watch the video. This is going to be the aftermath and scared students fleeing and things like that. And I'm not going to show the video. The video is pretty raw and shocking. And if you want to watch it, it can be found. Go out on Twitter, find it. I'm not going to link it. I'm not going to put it up here. I'm not going to expose, my viewers to it. But if you choose to go do it, go do it. But again, I do not suggest that anybody go watch that video. It's pretty harsh. Another international speaker, Leora Rez, executive director at U.S. campaign group Stop Anti-Semitism, also canceled. The organization posted on X, our executive director was recently invited to debate at Oxford Union. Until George Abaraonye steps down or is removed, Stop Anti-Semitism employees will not be engaging with your debate society due to safety concerns and your president-elect's pro-violent stance. Yeah, if you're cheering on a murderer who murdered somebody who had a different opinion from you, perhaps you shouldn't debate this person because he might kill you. I'm just saying. It added, we urge all other participants to follow suit. Even the Oxford Union itself, under its outgoing leadership, condemned its own incoming president, a post previously held by the likes of Boris Johnson and Tony Blair. Oh, Oxford Union, how you have fallen. In an unprecedented move, the union said it would like to unequivocally condemn the reported words and sentiments expressed by the president-elect. His reported views do not represent Oxford Union's current leadership or committee view. It added that its current leadership had no association with and is entirely independent of Mr. Abaraonye, and shared its condolences with the Kirk family, adding, we reaffirm our stance that the Oxford Union firmly opposes all forms of political violence, strongly stands by our commitment to free speech and considerate debate. No, sorry guys, can't do it. If you are a member or a former member of the Oxford Union, it's shame by association. You now are about to have a president of your storied debating society who celebrates violence and murder. So you are condoning violence and murder if you allow this person to get into office. And you can say all you like, you have nothing to do with it, but everyone knows you do. So here's Josh Wolf. Here's the Stop Anti-Semitism campaign. The University of Oxford, which is not responsible for the union, said the Oxford Union is independent of the university. We deplore comments appearing to endorse violence. They are unacceptable and entirely contrary to the values of our community. Okay, Oxford, let's talk about Oxford for a second. Is this man a student at Oxford? If he is, you should be looking into your student ethics guidance. Has he broken it? I think you should look into that and do an investigation. Because again, it's shame by association. He is going to be a graduate of Oxford, and you guys will always be remembered as having this guy as one of your students and a president of the Oxford Union. It's got your name all over it, and he celebrates violence and murder. Just saying. And Claire Coutinho, the conservative shadow minister for women and equalities, tweeted, where is the belief in free speech and tolerance for opinions, the empathy? Yeah, so there is free speech. He's allowed to say whatever he likes, and then right-minded people are allowed to shame him and any of his associates in public. That's my free speech, and that's what I'm doing right now. And if you don't like it and you think this is wrong and this is against free speech, tell me so. But I've always said free speech, for me, is more about the government not being able to censor speech or platforms not able to censor speech. It always has consequences in the public square. You're able to say what you like. I'm able to say what I'm like. And we're having a conversation. That's free speech. We're doing it right now. In response to the backlash, Mr. Abaraonye explained to the student newspaper Cherwell that he received the shocking news about the shooting at Charlie Kirk's event. And in a moment of shock, I reacted impulsively and made comments prior to Charlie being pronounced dead that I quickly deleted on learning of the passing. These words did not reflect my values. Bullshit. I'll just say it. When people say things, believe them. The first time they say things without thinking of them, I think they're telling you who they really are. George, bullshit. He added, to be clear, nobody deserves to be the victim of political violence. Nobody should be harmed or killed for the views that they hold. I may have disagreed strongly with Mr. Kirk's politics, but in death, we all deserve respect, and I extend my condolences to his family and loved ones. So why didn't you do that at first? Again, now that you've been caught, now that people have called out your poor behavior and how you reflect on the university and the union, oh, now you feel sorry for Mr. Kirk. He said, at the same time, my reaction was shaped by the context of Mr. Kirk's own rhetoric, words that often dismissed or mocked the suffering of others. He described the deaths of American children from school shootings at an acceptable cost of protecting guns. Oh, George, let's blame the victim now. Liberals love to do this. They love to normalize and dehumanize their victims. The victim here is Mr. Kirk. I don't actually agree with George's statement here. I've watched now, the last couple of days, I've been watching Charlie Kirk videos, and I agree with a lot of what he says, and I disagree with some of what he says, but I actually agree with most of it. I do not believe all the lies that they tell about him. And he may have had this opinion, I agree, that that was the cost of protecting gun rights. And you could disagree with that opinion, but there's a line in the sand. Because he had this opinion, he should not have been murdered, and you should not even be bringing this up. That shows that you are the bad person, George. You're normalizing the murder of someone for his opinion. A guy who all he wanted to do was debate. And now you are about to be president of the foremost debating society. You're implying that he deserved to be murdered. No, there's a line in the sand. I don't care if everything he said was racist, misogynist, transphobic. Everything you can say is true. It doesn't change the fact he should not have been murdered for speaking an opinion. This is just a reflection on your character, George, and the character of Oxford Union and the University of Oxford, because it's shame by association. In the great words of Greta Thunberg, how dare you, Mr. Abaraonye? Kirk was struck in the neck by a single bullet while speaking about mass shootings, a university campus in Utah yesterday. The married father of two was rushed to hospital where he tragically succumbed to his injuries. A manhunt is still ongoing for the shooter, who was described as a male college age, the officials saying on Thursday that they had video footage of the individual. The individual has now been apprehended. He was a 22-year-old resident of Utah who had been radicalized somehow by Antifa ideology. That's what's been released. His father turned him in. They said a high-powered bolt-action rifle was recovered from the wooded area nearby. The shooter jumped off a roof where he fled the scene. Yeah, it appears he used a hunting rifle and fired from the roof of a nearby building about 200 yards away. President Trump was quick to express his sadness at the tragedy, calling Kirk a martyr. Charlie was the best of America. The monster who has attacked him was attacking our whole country, he said, before ordering flags on U.S. government buildings be lowered to half-mast, including the three at the White House. I think he's got them on half-mast till Sunday as a sign of respect for Mr. Kirk. He added in the post, the great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth of the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you. Here's talking just before he was shot. Charlie Kirk says MAGA is a return to Britain's ways in an Oxford speech. Let's watch this.
You are the country of Shakespeare, the steam engine, and Adam Smith. You defeated Napoleon. You destroyed the slave trade. You stood up to Hitler. My country, America, became great as it is because of what we inherited from you, from Britain. When I hear the slogan, "Make America Great Again," I'm also hearing, quote, "Return America to its British roots." Great Britain has everything in the world to be proud of. But when I look at Britain today, I see a country where the ruling elites are in a race to abandon the very values, the values that made them so great in the first place.
All right, so that's what Charlie had to say about Britain. I thought it was important to play that. I hadn't seen it, so here. I agree with his words. Britain is going off the rails. Britain doesn't believe in free speech. While Kirk's assassination sparked an outpouring of tributes, it's also led to accusations that the left is using his death to score political points because of his strong opinions. Left-wing writer Nels Abbey sparked outrage after comparing the activist to David Duke, the former leader of the Ku Klux Klan, during an appearance on Good Morning Britain on Thursday. The people on the left just don't get it. Calling people on the right Nazis and fascists for 10 years is how we got here. And I'm going to do a video on that later, I think. This is very tone deaf. What do you not understand that we should denounce murder in all its forms and not try to explain away why it was a good thing or why it was an understandable thing? It's not understandable. The BBC has also come under fire over its distasteful coverage of the killing after inviting Democrat strategist Joy Cheney onto a panel who stunned audiences when she said Mr. Kirk wasn't admired and loved by all. Again, Democrats are tone deaf. This is not the way to de-escalate this situation. They're pouring gasoline on this. And let me tell you, my friends, in America today, this is a fire. Another post which sparked a backlash was from left-wing activist Femi Oluwole, who said the same people who spent the last 2 years telling us to treat the murder of 80,000 in Gaza as acceptable and justified loss are about to get real precious about the sanctity of one human life. Again, I'm going to say it. This is a false equivalency. Two things can be bad at once. I agree. What's going on in Gaza is a tragedy and is terrible. And I don't normally cover it because it's just so heartbreaking and I don't know what to say about it. I don't have the words for that. That one's too much for me. And yes, I agree. Some people have been saying that it's justified what's happening to the people in Gaza, and I disagree with them, and many do. But even if people say that, and I have no idea if Charlie actually said that or not, but even if people are saying that, that does not excuse or in any way minimize a man with a wife and 2 small children is dead today, and they're going to have to grow up without a father and a husband. Where is the humanity on the left? Where is the tolerant left? Where is the compassionate left? It's a lie. They're not. Who are the real fascists? They've been calling Donald Trump for years fascist. And when I say they, it's the media and Democrat politicians. And then they say, oh my God, we need to tone it down. I don't know why this madman picked up a gun and killed him. He did it because it's okay to kill Hitler. Everyone knows it's okay to kill Hitler. We fought a world war to defeat fascism and Nazism, and people are applauded for it. You're a patriot and a hero if you kill Hitler. So if you tell the general public for years that Trump is Hitler, then by default, his generals also have targets on their backs. And eventually, with that type of rhetoric, someone will shoot Hitler. But you know what? Charlie Kirk wasn't Hitler. He went and had a respectful debate on issues that many mainstream Americans would agree with him on, and many don't. And that's okay. We used to be able to have a nice discussion, and then we walk away and agree to disagree. Now, Americans are wondering, can we disagree without being shot? And so America's in crisis right now. And my friends, there is no minimizing this. A war just started in America this week. And this time, it's not a war against a foreign adversary. It's a war of ideas within America where citizens are killing each other over ideas. An Oxford University spokesman said, the Oxford Union is independent of the university. We deplore comments appearing to endorse violence. They are unacceptable and entirely contrary to the views of our community. The Oxford Union said in a statement, the Oxford Union would like to unequivocally condemn the reported words and sentiments expressed by the president-elect George Abaraonye with regards to the passing of Charlie Kirk. His reported views do not represent the Oxford Union's current leadership or the committee's view. The current administration has, under President Musa Haraj, no association with and is entirely independent of Mr. Abaraonye's administration. In alignment with the statement published by our society earlier today, we reaffirm our stance that the Oxford Union firmly opposes all forms of political violence and strongly stands by our commitment to free speech and considerate debate. We would like to reiterate our condolences lie with Charlie Kirk's family, especially his wife, young children, in enduring such terrible grief. Just a couple of other things I wanted to show. This is having a big fallout within the Oxford Union community. Here's James Price put on Twitter yesterday. I have resigned as the honorary secretary of the Oxford Literary Debating and Union Trust, the charity that owns the Oxford Union's buildings and dispenses its charitable responsibilities. onto the union as its delegate. The callousness of the union president-elect has shocked me, but I also can't accept the lack of intervention on the issue. The trust is full of the most incredible people. I hope that this ultimately helps in a tiny way, a great British institution that I care so much about. I'm not going to read his open letter, but I'm going to leave that for you to read. He's saying he can no longer be associated with an organization that would tolerate this sort of behavior. And I think that says a lot about his character, that he recognizes that. It's unfortunate that he had to resign, but he's also calling out the character of the members of the trust of the Oxford Union. If they stand behind George, then they endorse his statements. They endorse violence. Foundation of the Oxford Union is endorsing violence today. I'm paraphrasing for you, James. That's what I read in your letter. And I'll let you guys read the letter. It's up to you. And then I also saw, I don't have it in front of me here, but Gregory Stafford, a conservative MP who is a member or an alumni of the union, has called them out that George needs to resign or be sacked. Again, because of the disrepute it brings on the union. And I think that's quite right. We should not, in a civil society, we cannot condone murder for speech. Can't do it. There is no equivalency to this. It's a line in the sand. It's good versus evil. You either support gun violence or you don't. George supports gun violence. I saw his words. I believe him when he said it the first time. So Oxford, by association, you support gun violence. Oxford Union, by association, you support gun violence. We are now witnessing black privilege in its ultimate form. George is getting a pass because of the color of his skin. Call me a racist. Tell me I'm wrong. People have been telling me about my white privilege for a long time. Now, Oxford Union, what are you going to do when I'm calling out the black privilege that we can all see in front of us? Thanks, everyone. Bye.